All right, everybody, welcome here to my driving video of this Subaru Impreza. This is a 2009 Impreza 2.5 premium package. It's a 5-speed manual, has 153,000 miles, and it's a beautiful car. We're going to go drive it. Wanted you to see the outside of what we're going to drive here, so you can see what we're going to do. So I have some assistance here today because of it being a manual to make sure that I am a safe driver. I would need 3 hands in order to make a manual transmission video. So everybody ready? So here we go. 5-speed manual. This car is a little bit higher there. I like that, out of the road. This car is a lot of fun to drive. Can't have it right in my face or I can't see. This car is a lot of fun to drive with a 5-speed manual. I very much enjoy a 5-speed manual car. The man who is filming right now has no clue how to drive a 5-speed manual car. I mentioned in the walk around video that I think everybody should know how to drive a manual transmission, especially if an emergency or a situation where you absolutely have to. But it's kind of a dying breed of people that like it and enjoy it and want to. But even in a simple car like this with only 170 horsepower in this car, it's still fun. It's still exhilarating, and it still makes you feel connected to the road. It's fine, just up here. So we're gonna drive on some city streets and freeway streets. If you didn't watch my walk around video, take note of the exhaust sound that you may hear out of this car. This car has a Borla exhaust system on it, and I talked about it extensively in the walk around video. But the reason for it, as you kind of hear it like a low tone, low groan, like in 4th gear now, you can just keep it up there, you're gonna make them dizzy. The first and longest owner man who owned this car was a little bit hard of hearing and getting older when he installed it, and he literally installed the exhaust not for any kind of performance modification, not for any kind of, hot rodding the car, so to speak. He installed it because he wanted to be able to hear, because the car was so quiet otherwise, and he wanted to be able to hear when to shift. Now, even though this car does have a tachometer, he felt like the audible sound was what he wanted to be able to hear. So long story short, that's why it has the Borla exhaust system, but it gives it a nice little tone. So it's I like it. Gives it a little something extra. It's the only modification on this car. Check out the walk around video if you really like these cars or you're interested. This is quite a nice car. Only 2 owners, and that original owner had it for the longest period of time. He had it until 2022, and then the most recent owner had it for the last couple of years, 2.5 years. So the original owner had it for the longest amount of time. But it runs, drives perfect. Everything works like it should. Air conditioning's on right now. Air conditioning works great. All the gauges, all the features, all the buttons, all the switches, everything works like it should. Has clean history, clean Carfax. I like the car. I think it's a lot of fun to drive, and I think it's just a sensible car, low on maintenance, low on cost of ownership, great on fuel economy. It's not a race car. It's not the fastest. It's not turbo. It's not an STI, but it's a proven 2.5 liter boxer engine, as it's called. It is very, very, very proven, very widely used back then and now. It's been used for a long time, and that goes a long way in the car business, because once they perfect something, a lot of car companies will use it for a long time, just make slight modifications because it's so proven. That's exactly what's going on here with both the engine and the all-wheel drive system. Subaru has long ago perfected the all-wheel drive system on their cars, and they know what they're doing, and they have very very few issues, and they're well engineered and well built. Kind of route that I like to go has been somewhat disturbed, so we're gonna go a little different way here. On a nice quiet street like that, you can really hear that exhaust when you wind out the gear just a little bit. The exterior color of this car, I don't know if I said that in the beginning, it's called Sunlight Gold Opal, or also known as Sunlight Silver Metallic, and it's really good looking. I really like it. It's a nice light color, easy to keep clean, easy to see when bird droppings are on it. If you watch the walk around video, you'll know what I mean. A bird decided to have his way with this car during or sometime around the video, but it's a nice light color, and it's good looking in the sun, in the shade, no matter what. It's good looking color. So they're at 5th gear and 53 miles per hour, 5th gear. We're at 2,200 RPMs. So it's a little higher RPMs than maybe a newer car or having a 6th gear, and you're going to see that when we go out on the freeway. But I still think that the gearing ratio on this car is pretty matched to the power and torque, the horsepower that it has. Downshifting, oh, just saw a Cybertruck. Downshifting will save your brakes. I was taught that early on. I taught myself how to drive my first car that was a 5-speed manual after I bought it in about an hour. So it's not hard. It's certainly not hard. And once you get the hang of it, it makes sense. This is a very, very easy manual transmission car to drive. I talked about in the walk around video that for some people under the age of 30, this would be like a theft deterrent, because they wouldn't know how to drive it if they were in it and had to, or if they stole your keys. And but it's very easy to drive, and some parents, if you're considering this car or a car like this for your kid, some people believe that keeping your hands busy by having to be engaged with the driving experience and obviously shifting the gears may actually help to keep them off their phones or other things, to not be distracted. So think about that. I mentioned in the walk around video, this car does not have a temperature gauge. It rather has 2 lights, a blue light and a red light. So when you first start it cold, there's a blue light that comes on to tell you that it's not at operating temperature yet. And then after the car's at temperature, the light turns off. And of course, if it would ever overheat, there's a red light to tell you if it's overheating. Just a small little detail there. I've mentioned about the ownership history, and that both owners I personally knew, so I know everything I'm saying to be fact about both owners being older gentlemen, and the first one being older than the second, the one who installed the Borla exhaust system. Definitely taken care of by both people. just here recently, service-wise. I'm going to tell you about that as we head towards the freeway. We're going towards the freeway. We're going to go out on the freeway and go a few miles down and a few miles back. But just here recently, this car had brand new brakes and rotors and calipers in the front, brand new brakes and rotors in the rear, and the calipers on the rear were changed a few months ago, so they're also fairly new. Also on the rear, it just had new emergency brake shoes and hardware, so all the stuff to do with the emergency brake to make sure it holds nice and tight. Also just had a new crank sensor and a new fuel pump and an alignment. The steering wheel was off just a little, and I like it to be perfectly straight, so it was in alignment, so it's nice and straight now. As well as a fresh oil change, of course. So alignment, oil change, crank sensor, fuel pump, brakes and rotors and calipers all around, including the emergency brake shoes and hardware. That was all just done. And a rear wiper blade. And the battery I mentioned in the walk around video is only about 2 months old, so the batteries is just about as good as new. The tires are all season tires. They have 7/32 tread, so they're about 60% life remaining. They're not new, they're not old, but they've still got some time left. And then while we're at this red light, this is good timing. In the history, while we're sitting here, at 136,000 miles, this car had a new center differential and counter gears in the transfer case, along with a new snap ring. That was $2,300, and it was done at the Subaru dealership. I don't know exactly what all that is, and I'm not going to pretend to. I just know that there was an issue with the center differential. It was fixed under a warranty that the owner had, but it was done at the Subaru dealership, so I would definitely know that it was done right. $2,300. At 105,000 miles, the car had the timing belt service done, which was right on time. Timing belt, water pump, also spark plugs and wires, a basic tune-up. Also at that time, as you may or may not know, or if you do research on this 2.5 liter engine, the head gaskets are common. It's one of the weaknesses, amongst it being a fantastic engine, but it's one of the weaknesses. So the head gaskets and head bolts were replaced at that time with the timing belt, water pump service and the tune-up, as well as a crankshaft seal and front sway bar links. So that's not that long ago in this car's past, and it still has a lot of mileage left until the next timing belt service. Prior to that, and that service alone was $2,200. Prior to that, at 101,000 miles, it had a new clutch assembly and all of the stuff that would go along with doing a clutch. There's a whole bunch of little parts on that invoice. That was about $1,000. So I mentioned on the walk around video, if you take that math that I just mentioned of the timing belt, water pump, head gasket job, the clutch job, and the center differential at the dealer job, and add it all up and add it to the stuff that was just done recently to prepare this car to be ready for whomever would purchase it, you're basically at the price of the car. So that is worth its weight in gold. And what it's really worth, that I talked about on the walk around video a little bit, is you could go buy another one of these cars. You could go buy another one that's just like this, might have the same mileage, but I can promise, because I know no two cars are the same, and I'm not saying there couldn't be another one out there that couldn't be as nice as this, but it's just not extremely likely. And my point is that if you go buy one like it, and it's a little bit less money, but then you have to fix and do some of these things or other things that it may need, you very well may be equal to or exceed the cost of this car that's 100% ready to go, 100% ready to drive, and needs nothing. So that's my pitch on that. Oh, I forgot, the tire sensors were also just replaced. All 4 new tire pressure sensors. 3 of them had bad batteries, so just went ahead and replaced all 4. So while we're at this red light for a moment, check this out. Original window sticker. It's just cool, you know. It's cool to have. Only $20,000 when it was new. Here's the options up here. Really good crash test ratings, and the fuel mileage over here. It's just nice that the car has it. There's the color name, Sunlight Gold Opal. Original owner's manuals are in the glove box also. Alright, we're getting closer to the freeway here. It has a nice set of Subaru rubber floor mats as well all through the car, and if you watch the walk around video you'll see a lot more details about this car. The cargo area is absolutely spotless. The retractable cargo cover is back there. It's really nice. Underneath back there, the spare tire and all the tools, it's like brand new. It's just pretty fantastic. So this car has side airbags from front to rear, for anybody that doesn't know that or would like to know that. It has them here in this is the A pillar on the sides of the seats, and then in the pillar that's back there behind, but we don't yet. Over there, right there, that's the B. That's called the B, or I'm sorry, that's called the C pillar, ish. Side airbags all around, all-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes. It's very safe. Alright. And it'll cost way less to own and operate and maintain this car than the one in front of us, a Mini Cooper. The guy in the back seat that's recording, he can vouch for that. Yeah. Are 60 miles an hour, 3,500 RPMs onto this freeway, 4,000 RPMs at 70, into fifth gear, 70 miles per hour, fifth gear, right at 3,000 RPMs. So again, a little higher than maybe a more modern car, but not a big deal. It is what it is. And it's pretty quiet, and the exhaust is pretty quiet when you're just cruising like this on the freeway. So right at 70, 75, there's just about 80, nice and smooth and straight. Oh, here comes the Subaru. This guy's gonna flex his muscle. Check out, show this blue Subaru. There you go. That's the hot rod version. Yeah. That one goes a lot faster than this one. But you know what? This one can get the job done. It's an interesting place to... So steering wheel's nice and straight. Of course, the brakes are smooth and clean. Boy, there's cars all over the road. The brakes being brand new, of course, work absolutely perfectly. There's no shaking or shimmying or anything from them because they're brand new. To sound like you, Mr. WRX. Alright. Back on some open road, 70. Little bump here. It's a pretty quiet car. I mean, it's not as absolutely quiet like a luxurious Lexus or something like that, but it's overall a pretty quiet car for the type of car, and being a economy hatchback car. Cruise control works. I've just set the cruise control, so it's set there at 74 miles per hour. There's little indicators on the dash that say cruise and set when it's set. Cruise control is very easy to use because it's here on the steering wheel. And part of the premium package was that you got steering wheel controls on the steering wheel for the radio, so that's kind of nice. There we are at 85 miles per hour. You can see nice and straight and smooth, 85 miles per hour. It's a little windy today, so we're getting pushed a little bit. It kind of looks like it's because of the wind, but it's very straight and smooth. It's not pulling, the car's just getting pushed by the wind. Right here, and we're going to turn around and go back the same way and do it again. So if you like the video, give a thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate your views. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate any comments you want to leave, whether they're good, bad, constructive, whatever. Go ahead, feel free. If you own one of these cars and you want to leave a comment to share your experience or details about your ownership with other people that may watch this video, please go ahead. I think it's very insightful. I think it's very helpful for others that are looking at this car or a car like this, maybe considering to buy one. I love to read when someone says, oh, your video was so helpful to me or so informative. I purchased one of these cars in Wyoming or another country, you know, another state, another town, another city, another country, whatever. I don't care. It's very rewarding to me when I read those type of comments. And if you've owned one and you have some great things to share with the class, feel free. So I think it's very very neat when people that have owned the particular car chime in and say something, because obviously they already own it, they know how great it is, but those are obviously the kind of people that want to help others as well, which I think is what the world should be more about. All right, there we go. If you want to see the engine compartment, that's on the walk around video also. For only 170 horsepower, I mean, if I let it wind out just a little bit before I shift, I mean, it's got plenty of get up. It's not as fast as that WRX we saw, but it's not slow. It does what it needs to do, and it's still fun to drive because it's got just enough power, and of course with the manual. There we are again at 75 miles per hour. Very current, I think. And then in the back, cargo wise, you fold down those back seats that I showed in the walk around video, and there's a ton of room. Obviously being a hatchback, but once those seats are folded down, they go down completely flat, There's a ton of room back there. You can definitely load a big screen TV or probably 20 bags of mulch back there. Fifth gear at 70 miles an hour, there's really no need to downshift because it's at 3,000 RPMs. It's still got, I'm pushing down on the accelerator right now, not real hard, and it can easily get up to 80 without downshifting. So I would say down to about 60 or so, you really wouldn't even have to downshift to fourth gear, which is also, you know, if you're familiar with manual driving, it's kind of nice that the way it's geared, you really wouldn't have to downshift to fourth gear until you got kind of below 60 miles per hour. So in a freeway setting where you're slowing down and speeding up often, you know, it keeps it at a point where you don't have to change gears. But nice and straight and a pleasurable driving experience. I usually comment about seats. I would find this seat to be perfectly comfortable, very supportive in the back, very supportive on the bottom and the sides as well. It's firm, it is firm, but it's comfortable. It's comfortable in a good way and a good posture, at least for myself. Also, headroom wise, I've got a hat on right now, but I definitely have probably about 5 or 6 inches of headroom above my head. So there's plenty of headroom. I'm right about 6 foot or 6'1" tall. So anybody that would be taller than me, you still should have, taller than myself, you still should have a decent amount of headroom above your head. So what I'm trying to say is that for a small car, it's not too small. It's still roomy. Now when I get off an exit ramp, I'll just put it in neutral to bring the RPMs down, and then I'll use the brakes a little bit, and then I'll downshift like to second gear to save on the brakes at the end. That's kind of how I operate with a manual coming off of a freeway anyway. But yeah, we'll just record a couple more minutes after we get off the freeway here, and this will be about it. But I appreciate once again everybody watching, and feel free to ask any questions or leave your comments. But great car, I would highly recommend. Another thing I wanted to talk about in this video that I mentioned on the walk around video, this car is 100% Japanese. And then I said on the walk around video, sometimes people don't like that because we're in America, you know, whatever. That's up to you, what you like, what you don't like. But this car, because it's older, was made in Japan. All of the parts content is from Japan. It tells you that on that window sticker. So it's like 100% Japanese. And for some people that are real purists or enthusiasts or whatever, you know, they like that. You know, both in Subarus and Hondas and Acuras and Lexus, you know, certain cars as you get older, they used to all be made there. And while I think it's great, of course, that these companies have started to bring their manufacturing over here and there's cars made here as well, I'm just pointing it out because newer cars made here in America as well. But I'm pointing it out simply because there are a lot of purists that really like when something was, you know, 100% from Japan or 100% from America, or in the case of that car in front of us, 100% from Korea. But so just thought I'd mention it. So traffic. 5-speed manual car is not the ideal car for a traffic situation. However, I will say that when it's easy to drive like this car and the clutch isn't heavy or stiff like a performance or a muscle car would be, it certainly makes it much more tolerable and easy to work with and drive. Cars like this, I was thinking about it as we approach these roundabouts, cars like this can make everyday commute or travel like going through this roundabout if this person would get out of the way that doesn't need to stop. It can make like going through a roundabout like this just a little more fun with having the control of the manual transmission, at least I think, and coming out of the roundabout, you know, and accelerating and shifting. There's no denying that by driving the manual transmission car, you're more in tune with the road and you're paying more attention. I think it forces you to look ahead to see what's coming, which is a good driving habit, because you know as you approach this roundabout you need to slow down and you may need to downshift the gear. You know, I think it just makes you a more aware driver. But unfortunately there's less and less of them nowadays, so this car is a rarity. Well, I think that's shown and told you as much as I possibly can about the driving experience and what I think of these cars and this car in particular. So I appreciate your views, I appreciate your watching, appreciate your comments, anything you'd like to share. Until next time, like I like to say, and I hinted on my walk-around video of this car, the next time is going to be, I do believe, a car very similar to this car, different brand, but also in the same sort of segment of a small hatchback. So until next time, peace, bye-bye.